Today, we're going to go over the process of re-slinging our 7L30 sling chaise. The tools required for this process are going to be a 5/16 driver, and I'll be using a tip extension to help me access the fastener, a 7/16 driver, and a Phillips driver. We're going to be using our telescope spreader bar, angled cutters, a plastic mallet, a flat screwdriver, our telescope sling starters. And for this process, I'm going to be using 2 sets of grip clamps to help make this easier. I'm going to use a 12-inch grip clamp, a pair of 12-inch grip clamps to hold the chaise to the work surface. And I'm going to be using 2 36-inch grip clamps that are going to help me take the tension off of the sling. So to start, I'm going to grab my flat screwdriver and I'm going to remove all of the seat rail caps from the chaise. So there's 4 of them. There's 2 down here. Then there's 2 on the top of the chaise. These will pop right out. Then we can set these aside. Next, we're going to start taking the tension off of our sling. So I'm going to use my Phillips head driver. I'm going to remove 2 Phillips head screws from one side of this spreader bar. And I can set these 2 screws in my fastener aside. Now I'm going to go to my 5/16 driver, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to remove one of the 5/16 completely from this side of the stretcher bar. Now I can go ahead and flip this over and access the bottom of the chaise, where I'm going to go ahead and take the tension off the chaise bed. So I'm going to go to my 7/16 driver, and I've got 6 locations where this chaise bed is fastened to my leg assembly with a 7/16. I'm going to take these 7/16 and I'm just going to back them out about 1/2 inch. I'm not going to remove them completely. I'm going to leave them fastened into the leg assembly. And we'll do the same with all 6. Then lastly, we have 2 7/16 that are holding the back of the chaise bed to the leg assembly. We'll do the same thing here. Just going to back those out about 1/2 inch. Now we can go back to our 5/16, and we're going to remove one side again of the stretchers that run along the bottom of the chaise. So we've got 2 here. 1, 2. We can set those aside. Now we can go to our telescope spreader bar. We can position it in close proximity to these stretchers. We can lift up on them, remove them, and take the tension right off this sling. So once we've done that now, and the tension is off the sling, we can flip this back over. And now I'm going to use my 12-inch grip clamps, and I'm just going to fasten this chaise to my work surface, or clamp it to my work surface. This is just going to help to hold things in place while I'm swapping out the sling. Now that I've got that secured to the table, I'm going to use my 2 36-inch clamps. I'm going to place one down here, where I'm going to draw the seat rail extrusions into each other. And I'm going to use another one here at the head of the chaise, where the back meets the back of the chaise. And by gripping and squeezing, flexing the chaise together now, we've removed the tension from the bucket of the chaise, which is going to make it way easier for us to slide our old sling out and our new sling in. So once we've got the tension off, the old sling will slide out. Now I'm going to grab my telescope sling starters, my rubber mallet too. I'm going to look down my fasteners here. I know I backed these out at 1/2 of an inch and they're still fastened. I'm just going to try to hit this out some, just to make that looser, so it's easier to slide that sling up those seat rails. I'm going to take my sling starters and I'm going to place them into the end of my seat rail. I'm going to grab my replacement sling. I'm going to note the location of the label, which will help me make sure that I install my sling correctly. We're going to start it in our sling starters, and then we just want to run that sling evenly right up the bed of the chaise. Once it's in all the way, we'll take our sling starters out. We want to make sure that we slide the sling down tight to the seat rail caps. If there's any excess dowel showing in that sling, we can take our angle cutters and we can remove that excess dowel. And then while we're here, we'll take our 2 end caps and we'll replace those on the foot of the chaise here to make sure that the sling doesn't slide out throughout the rest of our process. So now that we have the chaise bed sling replaced, we can go ahead and we can remove these 36-inch grip clamps. Set those aside. Now we're ready to move to the head of the chaise. So I got my sling starters here. I'll pull out the existing sling. Place my sling starters. Locate my sling label. And slide that right in. And no clamps are needed up here because you got like a significant amount of play in the back of the chaise. Now the same thing. Sometimes you'll overslide the sling in. Make sure that you slide the sling up tight so that it rests tight against your seat rail caps. Angle cutters. Any excess dowel gets snipped off. And then our seat rail caps will be replaced. All right. Now we're ready to put our new sling, our replaced sling, back under tension. So we'll start with our back here. We're going to get our telescope spreader bar and our 2 Phillips screws. We'll start right up here at the top. I'm going to put my telescope spreader tool in close proximity to the location of this spreader bar. I'm looking in here to line up my holes. Once our Phillips head are replaced, we're ready to go down now and place our 5/16 into this spreader bar. So we'll go back to our 5/16 driver and one of the 5/16 screws that we aside. All right, now that we've got the chaise back complete, we can remove our 12-inch grip clamps securing our chaise to the table. We can set those aside. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to flip this right over again to access the bottom and put the chaise bed under tension. First thing I'm going to do is go to my 7/16. If you remember, I have 6 of those holding the chaise bed to the leg assembly. I'm going to tighten all those completely. While I have the 7/16, I'll come up here and I'll cut these last 2 as well. Okay, so now all we have left are our 2 spreader bars on the bottom of the chaise, the 5/16 here and here. I'm going to use my spreader bar in close proximity to the stretcher. I'm the same here. And that is going to complete the process of the re-sling on the 7L30 sling chaise.